Hello, everyone. Welcome to this digital meetup. How are you doing? I see here already 24 people. I'm looking forward to talk to you. Today we're gonna talk about the game might be over for Scrum and what happens to product owners. So let's just test some things here. Uh, Please write in the comment here. Do you hear me well? Do you see how is the sound for you? I hope everything is fine. Just write it down to confirm everything is fine here. Hello, I see already someone commenting here. We're gonna start soon, just giving some time for people to arrive. And let's start like this. Let's get to know each other. So, where are you sitting now? And what do you do? So I can just start saying, I'm sitting in Munich now at home. I've just moved recently to a new apartment here. I needed a bigger one because working from home in a 2.5 rooms apartment didn't work really well with my wife. I have a new one working from Munich, and yeah, I'm leading a product management team. So just share about yourself, get to know each other before we just start the presentation. I have something prepared here for you, a presentation. We share some things. And thanks a lot, Matty, for inviting me. It's the second time I'm talking with this group. I'm really proud to be here, and I really like sharing insights and exchanging. And I'd like this room here to be a room where we exchange and we learn from each other. I will be mainly the one talking, but please write in the comments questions and we exchange. I don't want this to be just a monologue, but I want to be an exchange. I will share perspectives based on my experience, what I have seen about this Scrum might be over and why, what happens after, so on. See Pierre from Zurich. Now, nice. Some years ago, I spent the New Year's Eve in Zurich. It was one of the most beautiful fireworks I've ever seen. So, and I'm from Brazil. Sometimes there are beautiful ones there as well. See some people from Poland. Cool. Nice you have an international round. And originally, I'm from Brazil. I live in Germany, but I'm Brazilian. Moved to Germany 4 years ago, a little bit more than that. DevOps engineer, agile coach. See, this is a diverse round. Hope what I share here will also be interesting for you. I will just put my screen here and then you can start seeing and then we can just start our conversation. I see David from Stuttgart. Funny enough, I was in Stuttgart 2 days ago. My parents are here. They wanted to know Stuttgart. Went there, took them to Porsche Museum. My dad is a fan of Formula One, and he wanted to see the car of Alan Prost. He was quite amazed by that. Okay, so just sharing here. I hope you can see my screen. And today, that's the thing we're gonna talk. Scrum might be over, and what happens to product owners? A lot of people have this job title. I had that for many years of my life, but if Scrum is over, what would happen? We will explore here, as I mentioned. We share some things I learned, some things I observed, and it's based on my experience. And here is what we were doing, and now, like, just trying to get to know each other before we just jump into the content. But now I will just start sharing, and let's do like that. I will just share some insights here, and then you write down questions and so on, and then we spend some time working on the questions and so on. Feel free to ask as many questions as possible, and I will try to address them. So let's start with the challenge here. I'm just going here to the presentation mode again. Yep. Hope you see my screen, and then we go. This is a question bugging me for a while. Is this the game over for Scrum? And why do I say that? I've noticed a big resistance from all layers of organization to work with Scrum. That doesn't happen only with developers who feel trapped in a feature factory where the only thing that matters is delivering more at the end of the day. Also, executives feel fooled. They thought that Scrum would give them more, and Scrum is giving more headaches. But there's one thing executives really struggle to embrace the unknown. They want predictability, and they use Scrum for that. Does it work? So maybe the game is over for Scrum due to some crazy situation, but Scrum may not be the one to blame. But let's try to understand what I'm talking about here. This is the first issue I see. I've been in many places moving from traditional way of working like waterfall, rational, unified process. So also rope. So this is really prescriptive. And we wanted to use something agile. We want to go toward a different way of working, a more modern one. But you know what happened? We started using a process. We wanted to use Scrum. We wanted to do agile. Let's implement Scrum. And that was 2012. I was the guy doing that. I had no idea what it is to be a product owner, and yet I was a product owner. But I realized that there is something weird happening when Scrum is used as a process. First is executives. They don't want to renounce their power. They are just unwilling. They define who does what and when. Just think for a moment. How do you receive your roadmaps? Do they define features to deliver or do they define goals to pursue? Well, for almost my whole life, I received a lot of features to deliver. And who made this decision? The executives. So they sit down and they define what's going to be done by whom until when. So they are not really empowering the team. And they are using Scrum as just a way of delivering more features. So in the end of the day, what it matters? What matters is delivering more. That's the only thing. And the conversation is often about delivering features. I'm just tired of this word feature. It quite bugs me. I need a new feature. It's a feature request, and we need to implement more. Stakeholders come and say, yeah, I need a feature here, and so on. But nobody's talking about value. We, nobody's talking about maximizing the impact of what we do. And then poor Scrum team becomes powerless. Why? Because the Scrum team is trapped in a vicious circle. So they do sprint for the sake of delivering more. And what is the proof of that? How many times have you seen a situation where the team cannot define a goal because everyone is going a different direction inside the team? This is what I call as divide and conquer. Divide and conquer in Scrum doesn't work because the power of Scrum is when we foster collaboration. And without a common goal to pursue, a group of people will just be a group of people running in different direction. A team needs a goal, and without a goal, you cannot be a team. And then people working with Scrum become super powerless. We just receive a set of prioritized things to work on, and we sprint every second week. We deliver something, and then we do it again and again and again. It's really frustrating, and it's boring to work like that. And yet, Scrum get the blame when executives don't get what they want. And when we look at this, what is the reality? Reality is like companies, they love processes. So if we have a problem, let's create a new process. Let's create a process to ensure that we always get the same results. We need to ensure efficiency. And then predictability and security is everything driving decision. What am I talking about here? I have seen some agile quotes, famous guys saying like the role of a Scrum team, or even worse, saying like this, the role of development team is to become predictable. They need to have predictability on the amount of story points delivered per sprint, and then the product owner will plan that. This is wrong. The role of the team is to deliver value and to figure out what works and what doesn't, and to ensure we are on the right track. But if our decisions are driven by predictability and security, well, it's not going to really work. You know that's difference between complex and complicated. Complicated is something that can be planned. For example, it is complicated to build a bridge. It has a lot of variants, a lot of things to do. But if you do always the same way, you will get the bridge built. It is complicated. The amount of variants are huge and it makes hard. But complex, you cannot make the relation to the variants. It's unpredictable. When you create something for a user, a product, you cannot ensure the user will understand how to use it and therefore benefit from it and generate value for the user and for the business. You cannot predict that. There are techniques that, of course, you can try to understand users and build something, but you always need to inspect and adapt. And the Scrum is made for complex problems because it speeds up the learning time. But when we look at a complicated mindset where we want predictability and security, Scrum is just not fitting. And this is not how products are built. But still, companies love processes. But then you look at the scenario here. Company loves processes and they use Scrum, and they call this, let's say, this version a watered down version as Scrum. But what happens to the roles? We have like only 3 roles in Scrum. We have the Scrum Master. What does a Scrum Master do? Instead of coaching the organization how to live up to the Scrum principles and values and benefiting from Scrum, actually they become a team assistant. They need to prepare the Scrum events. So they prepare the retrospective, prepare things, and they help the team. It's a very limiting role when the environment is dysfunctional. This is, I'm saying, what happens in reality. And developers, all developers, they are the ones who should be talking about how to solve problems, which solutions are the most fitting one. And here by developers, I mean anyone who will contribute to build a solution, UX design or product design, quality assurance. So people who work on creating, but in the end of the day, they are just feature factor workers. They receive something and they need to implement. That's it. They just pam 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 and implementing. And then you get the product owners. Who the product owners is, well, it happens. We are just like waiters. We get the orders from our clients. We may recommend something. It's like you go to a restaurant and imagine the waiter comes to you and say, "What would you like to eat?" And then the guy said, "Ah, I would like to eat a burger." And then the waiter, you say, "With a burger, French fries go pretty well, and maybe what do you want to drink?" So you just recommend something on top of that. But you don't ask the person, should you eat the burger in the first place? Maybe you have some healthy problems and you shouldn't eat the burger at all. What you need is something else. But no, we need to ensure that the kitchen is running and receiving their orders and producing that. So we just become waiters. And I came to a thought that what I have seen is Scrum actually is just a fantasy. What is written in the Scrum guide many times becomes no more than a fantasy. It's a thing like the Scrum roles, the real ones. They live in a fantasy world together with executives who empower teams. Because this is something I have barely seen in my whole life. Executives empowering the team. So this is super tricky. And it's kind of complicated, because we want to do the right thing, but the environment doesn't allow us. And then people don't want to work with Scrum anymore. Developers get tired of this. Scrum Masters, they become powerless, and Scrum Masters start working with several teams at the same time because they are working more as team assistant. And product owners start working fully on the output instead of thinking what is the right thing to do. That's not how it should be. But what is the point I'm trying to make here? The point I'm trying to make is if people who work with Scrum don't want to work with that anymore, and executives don't want that because they don't get the predictability they want, what is the possible outcome? I see two. I see either people move fully to Kanban, which I also like, but it won't help solving that because the problems still remain with the executive not embracing the unknown. And the other one is what I fear the most. They go to this one. go to what is called SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework. I'll just show you this picture. What do you think of this? It's called Scaled Agile Framework. When I look at that, I get dizzy. That's the reality. I really get dizzy and puzzled. I am scared when I look at it. Because let's think like this: any agile framework has one purpose, to speed up the learning time so that we deliver value for our end users and businesses. And then when I look at this, where is the customer? We are building things for the customer. Where is it? So hard to find, so complicated. And they have the audacity of calling this agile. I'm really afraid of this because it is a heavy machine that is complicated to operate. And instead of talking about the right things, we create more processes. And well, if some of you work with Safe, you may not like what I'm about to say. But for me, it's the following: Safe is an undercover waterfall agent. And I'm not saying that just because I'm making things up. Just look at this. And if you get to know the founder of Safe, Dean, actually, he also contributed to the rational unified process. He's a waterfall person, focused on predictability, but he's also opportunist because companies want predictability, and when they see this, it's beautiful. It looks, well, I have everything in place. I know who to talk to, and we can deliver more. So when Scrum doesn't work, I see companies moving to Safe, and then it creates more frustrations. And I see this guy as really an undercover waterfall agent. We may think we are doing agile, but actually, what we are doing is just fooling ourselves. We are creating more processes. And instead of talking about the real things, the real problems we have, that is, executives are not empowering the teams to be empirical. And what is empirical? Because this is the beauty of agile. We accept our ignorance. We don't know everything up front. That's true. We just don't know. But then the more we walk, the more we know. And then we inspect and adapt and we implement things according to our learnings. So it means if executives define what to do until when and until the end of the next year, we don't have the room for learning. But Safe is beautiful, right? There is a continuous delivery pipeline. There's a product manager focused on the right thing to do, and a product owner focusing on the right execution. Like one focus on the right thing to do, and the other focus on doing the thing right. I will talk more about this. There's a difference between the Scrum product owner and the Safe product owner. They're just not the same. But then what happens? When companies fail to get great results with Scrum, yeah, why does that happen? It happens because of adoption. Is it the implementation is poor? I'd like to give an example thinking on a football game, So it's very easy. Let's look at this team here. Barcelona was one of the most successful teams under the management of Guardiola. When he was there, in just 3 seasons, he won 14 titles. There was even a season where he led Barcelona to win all titles, 6 titles in a season. He got everything: Champions League, the Spanish Championship, and everything, National Championship, and so on. Everything, all. And what did he do there? Many people look at one aspect. What they look as Barcelona was one of the most feared team back then. They had sometimes 80% of ball possession. They were pressuring the others. Like it was a tiki-taka. So each player just touched the ball twice and then it's a very fast game and so on. And Guardiola implemented that and he was super successful, right? So that we can call as a framework he was working with. So he was working with the tiki-taka. And Barcelona won almost everything. So if he could just repeat that in other teams, then maybe the other teams would also be super successful, right? Well, it didn't turn this way. Guardiola went to 2 other teams. He went first to Bayern Munich. Well, Bayern Munich is the strongest team in Germany. It's no secret to anyone. He kept winning the national championship. He increased the ball possession. Like Bayern Munich was not a team having the most ball possession, and he increased that to 60 and then to 70%, I think. But somehow he never got them even to the final of Champions League. He didn't bring an international title, but he tried to implement tiki-taka. It didn't work as in Barcelona. He went to Manchester City then and tried to do the same, implementing the tiki-taka. Although he got them to the final of Champions League, still he didn't get the title home. So you see, he tried to use the same system that worked pretty well in Barcelona, but it didn't work with Bayern Munich. It didn't work with Manchester City. But why? If you look at Barcelona, there were three key players there: Messi, Iniesta, Xavi. But there were also more players like Pedro and other players like Piqué, Fabregas, and so on. The thing is, they were playing together for almost a decade because they came from the basis of Barcelona. So Barcelona had the mindset of growing the players together. So they played since they were young, super young, and then they went to the professional and so on and so on. So actually, it was not only the process, there was something other than the process. There was the mindset, which is not part of Barcelona any longer. But back then, that Barcelona had different players. They were together for long. And things happened differently. It was not only about buying the best players in the world and bringing them to play together. It was about using a team that they were strong together. And the thing is, it would take decades to make the same in Bayern Munich or Manchester City because you need to start with young players and then they will grow. That's simply a matter of time. And it's the same with Agile. It takes time. You cannot be successful with Agile if you try an implementation that lasts 6 months. No, it simply takes years to get to this transformation. And I will be very honest. Scrum requires courage, and cowards will fail. And most people are afraid of the unknown. And Scrum just gives a lot of fear to people. And then they fail. The truth is, a process is not enough to build value. You cannot generate value only with Scrum. It's simply impossible. You need more than that. Scrum is very good to uncover the unknown. And then you get to know that, and then you decide what to do with it. So that is the point of Scrum. It's a very good tool to help you embrace the unknown. And being agile is just more than that. It's just more than a process. And if you treat as a process, it's gonna plunge. It's not gonna work. And the top management keep saying we are agile, we have flat hierarchies, but then in the end of the day, they define what goes in the roadmap. They say they use OKR, but then the OKR has solutions there, like defining instead of what to achieve, which a solution to implement and to end. It's just something adapted to what they have been doing for years. But now, let's see here if you've got some questions ready, because then I would just take some. Yeah, yeah, I just saw one question here from Pierre. What means Scrum is over? I guess I was just approaching that. Um, I was curious here one about some questions searching. Okay, I'm not finding questions at this very moment. I will just continue. I saw one comment from Pierre. I was just putting here. Attention, you can't compare a team approach and a team of teams approach or project management or program. Yeah, I agree with you, Pierre. It's not possible to compare the same. But when I mean here, like Scrum and Safe, it's because for me, Scrum is enough to scale if you use it correctly. I have worked with Scrum with 10 teams and it worked correctly. I have seen Scrum working with 20 teams as well. And Safe is also for scaling. But it's different. That is very prescriptive. Of course, when I use Scrum, it was not just Scrum. It was using Scrum of Scrums and so on. But the comparison was not the Scrum with one single team I was making, but the Scrum with more teams together. Okay, so just to continue here, I will go to the next part, which is this one, where I started. If Scrum is over, what happens to product owners? Because, as I mentioned, a lot of people work as a product owner. But if the Scrum disappears, what will happen? The hard truth is, this is what I'm saying, Scrum is never enough for product owners to succeed. And if product owners are just trying to do Scrum better, we are failing just by doing that. This mindset is faulty. Doing Scrum better will lead us not to the value we want to achieve. But before I jump into that, you can say, well, but Safe has also a product owner. Then it means if we go to Safe, we keep working as a product owner, right? Well, you should not confuse the Safe product owner with Scrum product owner. And what am I talking about here? What am I talking about is the following. The Safe product owner is responsible solely for the execution. He is a backlog manager. That's what he is. He's responsible for the execution and talking to developers. He doesn't talk to end users. He talks to the product manager. And now it creates something I really hate. Two people working on a product, and it's one responsible for talking to the clients and understand what needs to be done, and the other on the execution. You see the issue here? You bridge communication. One finds what problems to solve and then gives to the other to execute and find a solution. But this guy who will solve, he would just give it back and then give it. There is a problem with communication here, and this is challenging. But on the other hand, the Scrum product owner is responsible from end to end. And this is a lot of responsibility for one person. So you are the one who make decisions on what problems are worthwhile solving. And then you align with the team on how to solve such problems. So it's really different. It's kind of accumulated in product manager and the product owner from Safe. That's what I'm saying. But when we look at Safe, I know some people say, yeah, but it makes sense to have a product manager or to have a product owner separated because they can focus. Well, it depends how you think. If you want to have a boring job, yes, then it makes sense. But if you want to have a meaningful job where you solve the problems from end to end, that is better to be a full role. And honestly, I don't care about the job title at all. You can be product owner, product manager, product lead, whatever it is. But for me, what is important is accountability from end to end. It's one person. It's like one bus, one driver. You cannot have a bus with two drivers. It would make no sense. You would have to exchange and so on. It's one person sitting on the driving seat and leading the team towards the right direction. But if you look at the Scrum product owner responsibility, let's try to understand in general what is the point here. So, as I mentioned, is responsible for end to end of a product or service. You need to maximize the product value. And here is where the problem starts. Product value, yeah, people can understand that differently. Some people think that the product value is delivering more star points at the end of each sprint, and then we are maximizing the output, not the outcome. But some people get confused. So for me, it's more or less like this. People have problems. It's normal. Some problems they care about, some problems they don't care about. We find the ones they care about and we find solutions for those problems. They will be happy about it. It will generate value for them. And in return, they will generate value for the business. And value for the business can be different. Sometimes it's just about data, sometimes it's about financial. So it is an exchange. It's something for both sides. So we are problem solvers. That's what we do as product people. And the product owner owns the backlog. And that means you are accountable for that. And whatever is there and prioritize, it's your responsibility. But then we look at that. And there is another issue I see with the product owner responsibility. It's quite easy to become a product owner because you get a certificate here, professional Scrum product owner or certified Scrum product owner. Can get from Scrum.org or Scrum Alliance. But actually, the certificate doesn't teach you how to do the job. And yet, you get this title. And some recruiters may see that and they will get interested in you and they may offer you a position. So the thing is, it is dysfunctional. It becomes a business, a certificate business. And that leads to the problems I was talking before. Because it's it's something I have seen all of these problems, but you need to have a direction to go. And it's a choice, you know? You can either be a victim of the circumstance and be unchangeable, and then you just play by the rules, or you become a hero. You change the game for your favor and you make it happen. You are the one leading. It doesn't matter if the environment is dysfunctional. You help them do product management properly. But the thing of this certificate, it annoys me quite a lot. Why? Because, let's see, many trainers are just clueless about product management. You go to make a training and then you understand what the role of a product owner is, but to live up to that role, you need to be a product manager beforehand. You need to be solid on product management. But then you are trained by someone who has no idea about it. And this caused me even a conflict with Scrum.org. I once I wrote an article saying, "Be careful, PSPO certificate or CSPO will just fool you." And I even got a message from the COO of the Scrum.org saying that I'm wrong, and the trainers do have experience, and it's different than the Scrum Alliance. So there was even a competition. Then I looked at profiles, some trainers, and they didn't have anything. And they said, yeah, but it's not a job title. The experience they have is fine. And seriously, they were like some were agile coach, some were software developers, and so on. But I couldn't read product management experience there. But Scrum.org still said that the guys are the best one to give the training. And then you get the certificate, but you don't understand how to live up to that. It doesn't give you the direction. And the point is, the training lasts 16 hours. And do you think this is enough? If we just go back and look at the professional, um, what is the name? The PMP certificate, the the certificate from the PMI for project managers. So this one is quite extensive. You need to accumulate a lot of hours of study and then practice. And then only after that you can get a certificate. It's quite hard to get that. So to be called a professional project manager, it would take you a lot of time. I don't remember the name of this one exactly, but it's super hard to get the certificate from the PMI. But then from Scrum.org and Scrum Alliance, it's quite easy. And even if you don't want to have this training of 16 hours on Scrum Alliance, you just memorize all the questions and you do a online survey and then you get PSPO. Yeah, the thing is, product owners need more than Scrum to survive. The point was never about doing Scrum. It is about delivering value. And Scrum is a means to an end. It is never the end itself. So before you land in the role of a product owner, you need to be solid on how to build product. So this is what I see. Without the product management roles, product owners will just fail. And the same happens to companies. Companies, they just starve without product professionals. And this is hard because companies, they believe that they can do agile and so on, but they don't really have product professionals. They have good backlog managers, they have waiters. And then it doesn't matter the framework you work with. You will never be agile. You will never benefit from the true potential of the team. And here is the thing, it's not about the role or job title. It's all about helping people progress on their challenge while generating value. That's what we want to do. And what I see is the following: it doesn't matter the framework you work with, it matters your attitude. And if you have really sound skills with product management, there's always a place for you. Everyone wants you, but it's about the attitude. Are you the hero of your story or the victim of the circumstance? If you're the hero of your story, companies want you. and you can change things in this functional environment step by step. So I think there's always a space for people who know how to identify problems we're solving. As I said, not all problems are worth to be worried about it. Some problems users they just don't care, or it's unfeasible to generate value from that. And if you are also the one who can help the teams identify alternatives to deliver value faster, then you are already standing out. And how ready are you to embrace the unknown? Does it scare you or does it motivate you? If it motivates you, that's what companies need. And do you focus on learning or guessing? Because sometimes I see that we fall in a discussion like, oh, I think this is the right way of going. That's that's my feeling. This is just an assumption. If you focus on that, this is a guess. Question is, how do we validate our assumptions? And focus on learning. It doesn't mean we need to do analysis for everything. It means that we need to speed up the learning. So no matter what happens to Scrum, if you are a product professional, a real one, there will always be a place for you. And I think the agile world needs more than rule followers. We need mavericks, the ones who are able to change the game and deliver real value. So, if you like this, I just invite you to join me and help the product growth. You can find my content and deep pereira.com. You have find everything about me there, my articles, my course, my videos, and everything. You can exchange with me. I'm very reachable on LinkedIn. And also on YouTube, I will come back with more videos. You can subscribe to my channel and so on. But now let's take the time here to answer some questions. I hope you have enjoyed here the content so far, but I'm curious to see which questions you have. Well, I'm really happy to see that there are still 47 people here, so it means that what I said was not so boring. Nice. So do you have questions? What would you like to talk more? So this is what I had to share, and now we have like, I don't know, we can go until 8 to answer questions, and just to exchange. As I said, I just didn't want to have a monologue here. I want to exchange with you, and everyone has different experience, so we can just share insights. Just looking into the comments here, so far I'm not finding questions, but I guess you have some. Aha. First one, I see some coming here. How to learn product management. That is something interesting. I learned the wrong way, you know. I said that when I landed my first job as a product owner, I was clueless what product owner was. And I did the following. I went to Scrum.org. I found the recommended books. I bought a couple of them, and I think I bought 5 books and I read. But I think today you have better ways of doing that. There are some recommended books like inspired by Marty Kagan, Escaping from the Build Trap, Melissa Perry, User Story Mapping, Jeff Patton. I would read some books. I would also uh, take part in some webinars, read some articles, because then you see the practice, what people are doing, and then you try it out. Product management is about finding ways of delivering value, and then you see what people are doing. I think that's what I would recommend doing. Good one here. What is the best way of start a product career? This is very hard to say the best way, you know, it's about understanding your scenario. So for example, what do you like doing? Are you a finance person? Do you have some skills about it? So I see you need to have something like a domain knowledge. Maybe you have some knowledge about finance, you have some knowledge about like healthcare, and then this is the way to go. You focus on this area and you try to understand product management and go in a place where you have a domain knowledge. Or for example, are you a software developer who wants to migrate? Maybe it's easier to do that in your company and try to get the position of a product owner. Are you a UX person? And then it's easier to move on your company. So this is something that it could be. You could also try to get an associate position where you learn from someone else. So some companies, they have programs for that. So if you have you build some knowledge and then you search for associate position. For example, in my team at Virtual Identity, recently I hired 2 interns to learn product management from us, how we do it. And one of them is already getting a position as a junior product manager, and she's doing quite well. So some companies give opportunities, so you can search for them. So this is what I would try to suggest. Let me take another question here. How to deal with the situation when the executives do not empower the Scrum team? This is a very good one, because this is where it shows how to differentiate from a victim and the hero. So I like using the doctor and the patient example. If you go to the doctor and you are sick, do you tell the doctor the symptoms you have, or do you tell the doctor the medicine you want him or her to prescribe you? So the executives, they hired you as a product specialist, but sometimes they do not expect you to solve the problems. Sometimes they want you to implement solutions, and this is wrong, because the executives are the worst person, the worst people to define solutions, because they are very far from the end users. The best ones are the ones close. So I would try to get to the why this is important. I would challenge the executive. What do you want to achieve with that? Maybe it's on the how you approach, saying like, okay, I can see this is important for you, but could you help me understand what would you like to achieve with that? What is important for the company? Which kind of pain we have? Why would that solve? So maybe this is one way of approaching. Try challenging. And sometimes you need to be bold. Sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission, because results talk more than trying to convince. I've taken some strong stand in my life about doing things against executives' wish, because I knew what was better for the product and the results talked, and then I could build trust. So these are some options I could recommend. I think Patrick asked about the book. The books you can find in my website. I have all the books recommended there. Just go to ndpereira.com. You have here in the link, you find there the books recommended. But just saying, it's Inspired, Marty Kagan, Escaping from Build Trap, Melissa Perry, and User Story Mapping, Jeff Patton. What is the best education skills for future-proof product owner? I think product owners have some characteristics, and the first one of them, they are value-driven professionals. You understand how to deliver value, so you develop a value-driven mindset. Another one, you are comfortable with making decisions, even though you don't have all the information available, but you make decisions because for you it's important to progress. So value-driven decision making, prioritization, and the other one is communication. So I'm not putting here in the numbers of priority. All of them are equally important, because without any of this, you are gonna just have a hard time being a product professional. I'm excited here. A lot of questions coming in, so this is quite nice. So let me take a next one. What is the best way, from your experience, to create a good cooperation between Scrum Master and product owner? Should Scrum Master have same skills as a product owner? I don't think they should have the same skills. I think they should be partners in crime. So it's like one is good in one thing and the other is good in the other one. So what am I talking about here? It's like this. The product owner wants to ensure we deliver value. And by that, by delivering value, it's like we need to keep delivering more and to learn. And the Scrum Master wants to ensure that the team is getting more efficient. The team is getting more, let's say, that the organization can live better the Scrum principles and become a better organization. So one help the other. So the Scrum Master helps the product owner collaborate better with the team and stakeholders. and he should provide observations on where the product owner had opportunities on increasing the collaboration, benefiting more from that. And the product owner also should provide feedback to the Scrum Master, because the Scrum Master is not a coach for the product owner only. They are partners, one help each other. Because sometimes some interventions of Scrum Masters do not help, actually they disturb. And one should provide the feedback to each other so that they can grow together. But they are just they have different sets of skills. One is more focused on people skills, and the other is more focused on delivering products. So of course product owners also need to have people skill, but the other is more on the team and collaboration and so on. For whom let me continue here, just taking one question from Adriana. For whom a product owner is not a good role, what qualities make a good product owner? I said about the skills, right? But about qualities. So if you are the kind of person who do not like talking to a lot of people, this disturbs you. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants something from you. If you don't deal well with pressure, if you don't deal well with organizing things and prioritizing and making decisions, and this disturbs you, that's not a kind of role of you for you. For example, some people like being focused and concentrating on one thing at a time. This is very unlikely to happen for a product owner. For example, my routine, I start the day by looking at the numbers and seeing like what kind of outcome we are delivering. And then from that, I make some decisions. And I will attend daily with the team, and I will talk to them and see what is happening, many times as an observer. And then I may talk to some users, may talk to some stakeholders. So I would talk to a lot of people. So my days are really packed, and I talk to a lot of people. I need to make many decisions. So if this excites you, that's a job for you. And if it doesn't, then it's not the kind of job you would enjoy doing. Um, I'm just looking here for some more questions. There's one here from Luca. The product owner is usually considered the voice of customers among the teams. Which is the best way to communicate the produce value to stakeholders? I think we have the sprint review for that. So that's where we show what we that is the thing, many people use a sprint review to show what we delivered during the last sprint. I think it's a missed opportunity. You have the stakeholders in the room. So what about showing them like the outcome we generated and the output? So the output is from the last sprint. So this is what we generated from the last sprint. And then what the output from previous sprint made with our numbers. What was the outcome generated? So I like using the sprint review not only to review the result of the sprint, but also to review the outcome our work is generating, and sometimes to make decisions, what things to kill because it didn't make sense. Because many times we only add things to the product, and that scares me. A good product's not the one you have nothing else to add, but the one you have nothing else to remove. So it's important to remove things. So use this moment to communicate with stakeholders. And about being the voice of customer, I agree with that, but also don't breach communication. Many times be a catalyst. Connect people with the right ones. Developers will understand better the problem if they see and they observe someone in real action facing the problem, because then you don't need to explain. They will face that. So I like developers watching interviews. I like developers watching user testing prototypes and things like that. So this is important. Um, let's see one here from. I will try to say your name. Not sure if Piotr. I think it's this how it's pronounced. Could you have any advice on how being developer become product manager or scrum master? Only soft skills are needed. Well, I think developers can become great product managers. Um, I'm a bit suspicious to say that because I was a developer, but I have seen more people succeeding from development. But the thing is, imagine an orchestra. You have a lot of musicians, right? But the maestro or the conductor, the guy conducting the orchestra, he is a musician beforehand. He knows how to play music, and then he ensures that the music is played beautifully. That's what he does with the orchestra. And I think a developer knows how to build product. And once you become a product owner, you ensure that the team has enough to build the product correctly. So you need to broaden your mindset. General developer mindset is focused on implementing the solutions correctly, solving the problem. So you ensure quality on that. But then once you become a product owner, you don't worry a lot about the minor things. You worry about the big picture and empowering the team to solve the problem. So you bring the context to them, you bring the problems, and then let them solve. I need to step back a bit. So it's having a kind of third person perspective. So I think it's about do you like these kind of things of empowering the team and helping them progress? If you know how to build products, it becomes easier to talk to them, to the team, how to do it. Then you can move easier. Of course, you need to develop soft skills, as I mentioned before, communication, and also conflictability. You need to go into conflicts. You need to face them. You cannot shy away. If you shy away, it's a big problem for product owners. Um, yep. So let's think here. I think product owner does not make decisions either. Well, it depends. Product owners make a lot of decisions. Product owners generally make decisions on what to solve, and then the team on how to solve it. So we are more like the what, not on the how level. So sometimes we confuse that and we try to talk about the solution, but we are not the best person to talk about solution. The ones who implement are the best ones. Let's see. There was a question here if I will upload the stock. It will be available on my channel. So I think from tomorrow on you can find. If you enjoyed here, like just subscribe to the channel. I think from February I will start posting once a week, and you will find more material, insights. I will try to keep videos of 10 minutes with insights and so on. Matty is just telling you last chance for questions. So let's take one or two more, and then we can finish. There's one more here. Is it possible to be a successful product owner without a lot of work experience? I don't think so. I will be honest with you. At the beginning of my career, I became a product owner when I was 23, and I didn't have a lot of experience. I started being a developer very young in my life. I started working as software developer at the age of 18. But I knew how to create software. I had worked in different things and so on. But it was hard for me to understand many things. It took years to see how to solve problems. So I think you need to experience some things and face some failures, because nothing teach more than failures. But the point is not if you can be successful without a lot of work experience. It's like, can you live in an uncomfortable position for a long time and face failures and learn from them? If you can do that, you will evolve and become a great professional. Wow, that was intense in questions. I really appreciate that. I like it a lot. I was talking and to Maddie before the preparation here for this session, and I was this presentation was based on a talk I had on product bits, and product bits is very sharp. It's 15 minutes, and I said, "Whoa, I need to change." So I brought some more ideas here for 30 minutes, and I was, can we get to an hour or so on? But as I can see, yeah, we managed, and I see still some people enjoying here. I hope you could benefit from this talk, and thanks for the participation quite a lot. I appreciate your participation and time. So as I mentioned, you can follow me on my channels, add me on LinkedIn and so on, and we can exchange more. I'm very accessible. You can write to me, can find my articles and comment there. Thanks a lot for your time, and thanks, Meti, for organizing these. I really enjoyed, and we can do more in the future. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. And if you want to watch this, just come back to my channel. It will be available from tomorrow on. I wish you all a great evening. Thanks.